So I like to say that that Grover was kind of born from this like hate crime because I was just so worked up and so upset that I kept. I was just so angry. I was so upset. I was so heartbroken. And something that um, it's just like I said, this whole situation is just kind of crazy, and I'm not really ready to talk about all the details without necessarily having to question the validity of my sanity, what I'm actually experiencing. But I actually do have like complete and total faith that I am actually sane, and I've never really doubted it. I've never doubted my sanity, um, and that's the worst part. Is like knowing that this is happening and that you're not insane, that you're still cognizant, that you can still come to like an intelligent conclusion, that you can still have a conversation, that in some ways you're actually better for the experience, even though it's like scary as heck. But anyway, so Grover, I just sort of got so angry that I couldn't stop making this face. It's like scowling, like I don't want to make it because it's embarrassing. It's like scowling, like nose flaring, like face, like kind of like when you're a kid and you're throwing a tantrum, you're like that, kind of like that, And I did that for something like 24 hours straight. It's just kind of huffing and puffing and literally sort of growling. And I started talking to this part of my personality because it was just so foreign to me, so different, from anything I'd ever experienced on a regular basis. And it's just it turns out that I started calling him Grover. He's this is like the best example is this. Like at one point, I was like, well, I think we'd have to get rid of the goddess. And I perceived that he just sort of screamed like ah and ran out of the room, which is like ridiculous because this entity, this part of my personality is mine, but that's what it felt like. And anyway, so in questioning Grover, I just realized that that part of my personality is all the things that I have mixed feelings about, like say like intimacy, right? Like you want to get close to someone but you're afraid of being vulnerable, that sort of thing. Or God, that was interesting. So I when I think about when I think to myself about God, I think that I have a pretty comfortable connection to God, that I don't feel ashamed or embarrassed of anything. But and this is weird, like speaking of Grover, I felt like I asked Grover, and Grover said that he was afraid that he was a that God makes him uncomfortable, and God makes him uncomfortable because uh, physically and emotionally. And I thought that was really kind of weird because I actually don't feel that way. I mean, I guess in my life I have thought like, oh, God did this, whatever. But as an adult, like I know that that's not God, that's not what God is about. But I just kind of wanted to talk about this. One of the really weird, interesting aspects about this quote unquote spiritual awakening and or demon possession. We'll see. But I handle Grover as I would a child, and just sort of ask him like what is wrong with him and what he needs to sort of feel comfortable. So another like weird thing was that the shirt that I'm wearing under this, like Grover did not want to wear that shirt. Well, Grover wanted to wear that shirt, but I didn't want to because I didn't think it looked cool for what I was gonna do that day. And it's just like this flurries, this sort of like really bright, colorful like shirt, and it's kind of boxy and stuff. I don't think that it's really like a great fit, but I mean it's working for me today. But he was adamant, like this is just such a, for my personality to sort of like fracture this way, and for me to still be remotely sane. It's just weird because like I felt this hesitation in me, and I'm like, well, is this just me like being indecisive or something? But so Chronicles of a Spiritual Awakening, and some of the weird things that other people might be experiencing. And if someone else is experiencing this, you're not going insane. I assure you, but I'm not at the other end of this, so you know. But I don't feel insane. A little emotional, sometimes a little fragile, but really not insane. You know, still in touch with reality mostly.